when you're used to doing things a certain way, when you have a problem, you try and solve it with the tools that you know. And so you may come to the decision that it's unsolvable. And that maybe that's frustrating, or you can present the problem almost as a fait accompli, that it's, here's my problem, but you can't solve it. And I think actually when you bring people in who are experts, but who understand how things can be done differently, then uh, then suddenly problems that you thought were impossible become very solvable. Again, that happened with our safety barriers thing, because the whole challenge is how do you report status? And one person might view a status in one way and say, well, if it's got an overdue work order, it's bad. I want to see status red. Someone else might say, well, I only want to see a status red if it's broken, the equipment's actually broken. So what status does this piece of equipment have? Well, that had become an unsolvable problem across apartments. Everyone wanted their own tool. But by understanding how we could structure data differently, and that we had a home for status, but not just one status, we could have multiple different statuses on the equipment. And we had this whole concept of a context for status. And I was able to explain that here's how you can, a piece of a thing, anything, it can be a physical equipment or an imaginary thing like a system or a barrier, can have multiple different statuses against it, and you can pick which one you see based on your context. Suddenly that unlocked a whole new way of thinking about how this problem could actually be solved, and just bringing a different view about how things can be broken down, say into more simple things and processed in a systematic way. This is where what I mean by high bandwidth, because we're not stuck in the, well, what can you explain what this piece of data is? We actually understand how you can reconfigure it, or how you can build things on top of it that solve problems you didn't think were possible before.